What's up, people, and welcome back to the final episode of Season 1 of the Indianapolis Colts franchise in Madden NFL 26. It's been a lot longer than it should have been to get to this point, but hey, we're here now, and I'm excited to get to this point of the season because we're getting nearer to the offseason. That's one of the funner parts of these franchises. Last episode, we saw our first primetime game of the franchise, where we took on the 49ers and beat them 26-20. It wasn't the cleanest or best game for Daniel Jones, but it was better than some of the games that he had prior. And we ended up losing yet again to Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence had 5 touchdowns. Tank Bigsby and Bayshaw 10 ran the ball all over us. Jonathan Taylor didn't really do much in that game. He struggled heavily. 22 attempts for 66 yards. So it was not cute. It wasn't pretty. So we sit now at 6-10 on the year with 1 game left of the season. But let's take a look at the playoff standings. There's only 2 spots left. Only 1 spot left in the AFC. The Jacksonville Jaguars cleared the way with us and clinched the AFC South. So that means only 1 spot left between currently the Bengals and the Raiders. As for the NFC, there are a lot of spots left. There's actually a total of 5. So most teams are going to find their spots. Really now, it's mostly seeding, but for the most part, it's really just whether or not they're going to make the playoffs. We got the Texans in this episode. We lost them the last time we played against them. They're 6-10 just like us. But we're looking at Daniel Jones, and he's had quite the ride this season. First half was pretty clean. He started the year off with a good game against the Chargers. In the second half, he had the game against the Steelers where he struggled with 4 turnovers, and they looked pretty clean until these last few games against Jacksonville and Seattle, notably, where he's really just struggled. Looking at the rest of the offense, Tyler Warren, Josh Downs currently lead our receiving core. Jonathan Taylor leads, obviously, the run game, but the run game in the entire NFL. The last time we played the Colts, the Texans, was not that long ago. Well, I say that, but it was quite a while ago. This team ended our winning streak at the time and ultimately started a losing streak, but we allowed 400 plus yards and 4 touchdowns from CJ Stroud, losing 44-40. So kind of a shame how things turned out against this Houston squad. They're a fun squad to play against, but not the team that we wanted to deal with in the long haul. I will say it is pretty poetic that we played this team in the last game of the season. Well, of course, it's a divisional game. One guy that we want to eye is Colton Miller. The Houston Texans traded for him in week 8, and they've been a lot better with him. They started the year off, I believe, 2-6, and they're 4-4 since. So record-wise, they've been better. But Colton Miller has not led this team to the playoffs, unfortunately for them. And the Raiders are currently fighting for a playoff spot even without Colton Miller. So I guess it goes to show how much better the Raiders have been overall. Look, remember, they traded a 2nd-round pick for this season. They traded one of their first for next year. So Houston gave up quite a decent amount to grab Colton Miller, one of the best offensive linemen really in the NFL right now. Defensively, the Texans are the 2nd worst defensive team, only being worse than us, or better than us, go figure, because our team is just terrible in general. They can't really play against the run all that well, which is good for us because we have Jonathan Taylor. They're not a team that doesn't allow a lot of points. They're the 3rd worst team when it comes to points allowed. They are not a team that gets to the quarterback a lot, but they do get a lot of interceptions, 13 tied with us, where we've gotten a lot of turnovers through the second half of the year, as I've credited this defense for being able to do so. CJ Stroud has not had a terrible year this year, but surprisingly enough, he has not lifted this Texans team to the promised land where they should be. They shouldn't be 6-10. They should be quite the opposite, 10-6. The leading receiver, Christian Kirk, who has over 1,000 yards, and their defense is still, in my opinion, on paper, one of the strongest in the entire AFC. So it's kind of a question as to how bad this team's actually been. Speaking of Christian Kirk, the Texans will be without Christian Kirk in this game. He's out for the rest of the season. And I noticed Tank Dell was also on the injury list, which I don't know if he was injured all year. I'm not entirely sure if this is his first game back or if this was just a recent injury and he's been on the team all season long. But either way, We're getting ready to gear up for week number 18, divisional matchup. This game does not have any playoff implications, but for sure it is a rivalry game nonetheless. Two 6-10 teams going at each other as we're underway for the final game of 2025-2026 NFL season. As this ball will be returned to the 27-yard line. Here comes CJ Stroud. As I said, hasn't had a terrible year. 30 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. He's a really good game away from 4,000 passing yards on the year, and this could very well be this game. He was able to do it the last time these two teams met. Nick Chubb up the middle, he'll be able to get the first down relatively with ease. One of the more powerful running backs in the entire NFL. Of course, in the same conversation with guys like Derrick Henry. Back to Nick Chubb, then he will get another 5. The biggest concern for the Colts is whether or not they're going to be able to defend this run game, as they struggled against the Jacksonville Jaguars last week, and what ultimately led to their downfall 6-10. As CJ Stroud kicks it to Chubb behind the line of scrimmage, he's taken down, and that will force the Houston Texans to have to punt this football away at about the 10-yard line. As Anthony Gould, who will return it to the 20, so about a 9 to 10 yard gain. And the Colts have made a change at quarterback. Riley Leonard will make his first NFL start. Unfortunately, not his debut, as he did play in the game against the Seattle Seahawks when it was a massacre. The first throw for Leonard in the game, it's to Josh Downs. He breaks the contact, and he will get a lot more. He already had the first down, and Josh Downs, our leading receiver, shows off his toughness. Just able to break away from contact and a nice first down. 1st and 10 handoff to Taylor. Loses the football, and it's scooped up by the Houston Texans. And an early turnover for the Indianapolis Colts. Taylor has not had problems following this football late in the year. He did at the start. I believe he had 2 or 3 in the first 6 games of the season. And he gets his first in quite some time. So Texans will get the ball at about midfield. CJ Stroud steps back and hits a teammate on the helmet, so that pass is no good. So we'll see a 3rd and 8. Stroud to throw again. He'll fire it up the middle. It's incomplete for Christian Kirk. Nico Collins, as the pass is broken up. Christian Kirk is not playing, as we said earlier. And now the Colts back on the field. Riley Leonard overthrows Mo Alley Cox, as that pass is no good. Riley Leonard has to find his groove. Good pass earlier, but that was more so a good play by Josh Downs. And the defense holds up their end of the bargain and pushes Indianapolis back to 3rd and 12. Riley Leonard fires it downfield, and it's caught by Tyler Warren, and that's a grown man catch. That's what Tyler Warren has been able to do all year, showcase his ability to make big plays like that with his big frame, and he's got good hands nonetheless. And no, we're not flirting with him. We're just showing, or just crediting what he's been able to do all season. Play action fake for Leonard, and he is sacked by Danielle Hunter. Loss of 7, and that's not the type of negative play you want to take after such a big play by Riley Leonard. He's made a big throw earlier this year to Josh Downs in that same Seattle game we talked about, as Taylor will be able to get some of that yardage back. Now 3rd and 6. Leonard steps back, air mails it to the right side. It is somehow caught by Anthony Gould, our resident kick returner. A little bit too much air on that throw, but a first down is a first down nonetheless. 2nd and 6. Leonard to keep it himself, and he cannot shake the contact. It's 3rd and 3. This Texans defense trying to hold out. They've done good so far. 3rd and 3. A wide open Molly Cox in the middle, sorry. And that is a first down for Indianapolis as they look to move ahead and put 6 on the board. Leonard to throw again up the middle. That's incomplete. Overthrows Downs. That's his touchdown. Kamari Lassiter there. Doesn't really make a big play, but he is there. It is enough. Leonard's throw to be a little bit off. 3rd and 5 throw up the middle. That's to Tyler Warren, who's closing out on 700 yards on the season. in his rookie year. Hopefully, in his rookie campaign, he can be Rookie of the Year. Halfback screenplay for Taylor, and he finds his way into the end zone, hits the pylon. And the Indianapolis Colts on the road will fire first with 6, as that was their plan on this drive. It seemed like the turnover from Jonathan Taylor didn't really matter, because at the end of the day, the Texans couldn't take advantage. Just nice decision. Blitz was coming. Leonard getting rid of the ball in time. Now Texans offense will take over. They will call the same play. They won't get the same result. They will get 9 yards and make this a bit of a more manageable 3rd down. We'll see if they can convert. Stroud to throw left side, and that is incomplete. And it is Nico Collins who can't power through the contact, and the Colts will get the ball back. But we do reach the end of the first quarter already. Felt pretty fast, didn't it? But the Texans are currently trailing at home 7-0. This game, there's no playoff. It's like there's no real playoff implications in this game. It's just about, what's the word I'm looking for? Just about superiority, and whoever can be a 7-win team. Realistically, you probably want to lose this game if you're either of these teams, as Jonathan Taylor bowls through a defender and gets the first down. But for these teams, it's probably a game you want to lose, because this will likely guarantee you a top 10 pick in the draft. So maybe you don't want to win this game if you're either of these teams. But neither of these teams really want to quit. It's like I said, superiority is a big thing here when it comes to rivalries. As Riley Leonard does throw the football, it finds his target. It's Downs again. Nice juke move up the left side, and it is fumbled yet again. Deep downfield, Jalen Petrie picks it up. Don't quote me on that last time. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong on that. And the Texans will take the football, but after review, it actually looks like it might not actually be a fumble after all, as Downs was indeed down. And the elbow and back were down before he lost the football. So that fumble will be deleted, and the Colts will have a complete pass play. So they catch yet another break. See if they can take advantage, and they won't, as it doesn't matter. And Leonard throws an interception on the right side of the field to C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And that's not a bad decision by Riley Leonard. He simply just Gardner-Johnson just does a good job at jumping that route. Texans will take advantage, and I believe that's Gibson who will run that football. Nick Chubb out for the moment. The 1st and 10 back in the game. Finds a running lane, runs over defender. Travarius Ward is still going, and he'll get another first down, and that's Nick Chubb really in his prime. New set of downs. Stroud flashing fake wide open is Nico Collins on the left side of the field. And the Texans are finding their groove. Sometimes all it takes is a play on defense to give your offense a little bit of momentum. Defense wins games. We say it all the time. Nick Chubb up the middle can't break through the toughest interior of the Colts defense. 3rd and 2. Wide open on the up the middle. Sorry, that is Andre. Oh, sorry, that is. I keep messing up names, guys. Braxton Berrios, I believe a former Jet. I think he played on the Jets for about a year. But new set of downs inside the 5 for the Texans. Late handoff to Chubb. He will get into the end zone, and that is a Texans touchdown. And they look to tie this ball game at 7. Big plays on this drive to put the Texans back in this game. They're only down by 7, so a touchdown like this is definitely going to get the momentum that they truly need. As the Colts back on the field, open up the middle. A nice throw by Roddy Leonard to Adonai Mitchell, who makes his way back into the starting lineup. And now play action fake, and then he is sacked yet again. Loss of 6, and that is Settle. 2nd sack on the day for Riley Leonard. Again, with the team that does not allow a lot of them in the Colts, but wide open on the very next play, or should I say the play after, then it's Josh Downs again. And Ryan Leonard, despite the interception, he is 14 for 17 throwing this football. He's looking like an NFL star in here. Then hand off to Jonathan Taylor untouched until he gets past the plane. And all it takes is 2 big plays, really one, and the Colts find themselves back ahead, 13-7. Big credit to Ryan Leonard. That big pass to Josh Downs, a player that we have not called. He haven't called his name a lot in these last few games. That's a negative play for the Texans, as Jalen Jones is there to make a play. It's 3rd down now for Stroud and the Texans. Stroud to throw. Nice pass up the middle. And that's a clean 1st down to Andre Higgins. This team obviously missing Christian Kirk, one of their key playmakers in the passing game. We'll see how much that truly does affect them as CJ Stroud misses his target. That is a free 1st down. And a lot of running room. Probably a guaranteed touchdown for most receivers, especially Nico Collins. 2nd and 10, finds his man up the middle for an easy 1st down, as that will move them a little bit ahead. And then the Texans are going to try to hurry up. They want to put up a touchdown before the end of the half, and that will help them out quite a bit. Texans continue to move the chains. They won't hurry up this time. They've got the field advantage and the timeouts to work with, so really they don't need to rush at all. The Colts defense has to get in the high gear at some point. They really got to do it now, and that's not helping as Nico Collins catches the football. 1st and goal yet again for the Texans, now at basically the 1. So all momentum on their side. They try to run it, but good job by the Colts defense just to hold the fort. And can they do it again? 2nd and goal still at the 1-yard line. They'll hand it off again and nowhere for him to go. A loss of a yard. Texans will not use their last timeout, at least not yet. 3rd and goal with under 20 seconds left to go. It is going to be a throw. Pressure is there, but not there quick enough, as CJ Stroud finds Dalton Schultz in the end zone. Defense can only hold out for so long, and the Texans are going to tie this ball game if they can make this extra point. And they will. And it's 14-14 with a little under 20 seconds left to go. Under 10. Leonard to throw. He is going to try to make a play, and he will, and it is to Josh Downs again. The Colts will call a timeout. With under 5 seconds left, a 50-plus yarder for Spencer Schrader. Hasn't missed a kick yet, and it's not going to start here. What a play by Riley Leonard to Josh Downs. Josh Downs, the leading receiver for a reason, as that pushes us into halftime. The Texans trail at home 17-14. This is to be 7-10 on the year and claim 2nd place in the AFC South. Let's look at the halftime report. A big playoff implication for some of these teams. The Ravens win here, and they already clinched the #1 seed. But it's a quick throw, it's a screen play, and a low-scoring affair as the Ravens will finish 14-3 after besting the Steelers, who had quite the disappointing season led by Aaron Rodgers. Kind of crazy that they didn't play all that well. The Eagles, if they win here, will clinch the #1 seed for the NFC, so a big one for them. The Commanders and Jaden Daniels spoil that for sure. It is the scary Terry McLaurin, and Hurts and the Eagles will drop their final game of the regular season to the Commanders, 34-24. #1 seed still on the line. They won't lose it even if they lose. They just need a little bit of help. Find the Cowboys and the Giants. The Cowboys, the worst team in the NFC least, as a lot of people like to call it. In heavy snow, you can't see anything that's happening. But if you're curious, the Giants are getting shut out right now. 10-0 Dak Prescott-led Cowboys, as the Cowboys look to try to salvage what lackluster season they've realistically had. Let's look at the playoff picture. The Raiders and Bengals are competing for that final 7th spot. Come back to this game, it's been mostly offense, with the exception of course, the turnovers from the Colts, but that has not deterred them as they do lead 17-14. And Riley Leonard still having a really good game. Over 250 yards throwing the football in his first NFL start. Showcasing why maybe he feels he should be the long-time starter for the Colts. That's a big conversation for us, especially this coming off season, what our quarterback situation is going to look like. But we won't get too deep into that until, of course, the off season, which will be hopefully in the next episode. I still don't know if I want to split up the off season and the or the draft and everything, but I think I have it all put together by the end, like by the next day, for sure. Riley Leonard completes a pass. He's 16 of 19 with closing in on 300 yards in the game. He's on a roll. 1st and 10. Nice throw to Mo Alley Cox. Trusting your tight end to make big tight end plays. Hand off to Taylor. Shakes off some contact. And that is a tough, rough first down for Jonathan Taylor. A gutsy play. 3rd down and 10 for Leonard. He's going to throw out the middle. And with pressure, he throws the football away. And that's one of his biggest mistakes all day. Pressure was coming to him. He tried to force a throw, and he didn't have to, and threw it in the coverage. That's now his 2nd interception on the day, and 3rd, unfortunately, on the year, as the Texans will try to take advantage. It's not looking too good now. 3rd and 9 for Stroud. Has to get a first down in their first drive of the half, and with pressure he has to get rid of it. So it's a great job by the Colts defense, who has not disappointed in this game. They've allowed 2 touchdowns, but this defense has been poised and has not lost their stride. 4th and 9, it is Anthony Gould who will return it, and not a big one, as the Colts offense comes back on the field, led by Jonathan Taylor and Riley Leonard. Toss play for Taylor, bounces outside and able to turn a negative play into something that's positive. Sometimes that's all I can do. Turns probably a 5-yard loss into a 6-yard gain. Leonard will throw, buying some time. Wide open on the left side is Mo Alley Cox, and he's going to get a lot of yardage. Now Leonard is over the 300-yard mark. Crazy to think that he's having this kind of game in his first start against a rivalry team. Hand off to DJ Giddens, whose name we haven't called a lot as of late. He does lose a yard. Now Jonathan Taylor quickly back on the field as Josh Downs is in motion. And Texans with a heavy blitz. 3rd sack on the day against Riley Leonard. That is now 4th down. Texans trying to put a lot of pressure. They've got the defense to do it. So I'm glad that they are doing just that. 2nd and 7. It's a 20-14 game. Stroud and the Texans have to clutch up. And that's going to help as Nick Chubb just showing off his toughness yet again. Broad shoulders. 1st down. Play action fake again. Stroud airs it out. And he's got a man for another 1st down. And it's Andre Higgins. 1st down for Stroud and the Texans. He'll throw again. Colts rushing 5, but it does not work. And it's complete to Dalton Schultz for a 1st down. The Texans want 7. We'll see how that pans out. 2nd and 6. They got a man in motion. And this will be a handoff to Chubb for a short gain of only about 2 yards. So can they get one more stop? Stroud to throw. With pressure, incomplete. He's not sacked. But the Colts pressure just enough. We'll see if this will be a 3-point game. It will be. The Texans will at least turn this into a field goal game. Hectic game in the finale of the season. What you expect from 2 6-10 teams who are better on paper than they have been all year, as Giddens up the middle puts a defender on skates. One of his better runs of the entire season for sure. Hasn't had too many of those. 2nd and 6. Leonard to throw. Buying time. Airs it out. Finds his man on the right side. And it's Anthony Gould again for his 2nd catch of the game. Being more involved in this receiving core. After being a kick returner, punt returner for a majority of the year, that closes out the quarter. Colts only up by a field goal, but find themselves in touchdown territory. As we'll see what they do here, leading off the quarter, almost picked off. That would have been a pick six for sure. The Colts and Leonard catch a break, and then they'll hand this one off to Giddens, and he'll get the first down. He can't get into the end zone, but he's at least at the 1. The Texans are going to regret not being able to pick that ball off, because like I said, it's a pick six for sure. First and goal, Downs in motion. Leonard will throw. On the right side is the Adonai Mitchell, and they rule him in the end zone. And I think he reached out just a little bit. As the Colts now at 27-17. And now Stroud finds a man on the left side with a few steps. It's Dalton Schultz again. And the Texans want this lead. They want a lead. They haven't had one all game. The most they've been able to do is tie this ball game up. 27-17, 3rd and 4 for Stroud. Buying time, finds Nico Collins up the middle for a first down, and Kenny Moore can't keep up with them. Kenny Moore has had these kind of issues through the first half of the season. He's cleaned them up recently. And 2nd and goal, Stroud will be sacked, taken down, and is DeForest Buckner a part of that play. Haven't called his name a whole lot this season. He definitely has had quite the down year. 3rd and goal, Stroud to run, and he's taken down by Chad Muma, who for the moment saves the drive and prevents a touchdown. And the Texans are not going to go for it. They'll just kick a field goal, take their 3. It is smart because it's still early in the 4th quarter, and the Colts only led by 10. But now the Colts will get the ball back, and in play action fake, immediately Ronnie Leonard is sacked. A big play by the defense drops him back to 3rd and 16, and now the Colts trying to get out of a jam. They won't be able to as the pressure gets to him, and the Texans will get the ball back. The best scenario would have been a turnover, but this is basically second best, and as soon as I say that, Stroud is sacked. I think that's the first official sack of the day for the Colts. Might be the second, I don't know. But that might be big for Indianapolis to claw their way back into this game while they're in it. And then a really bad throw by C.J. Stroud, really risky, because Javarius Ward could have picked it off. That would have been his 5th of the season. Instead, it will just be punted away. That basically would have been an arm punt. The 1st and 10 handoff to Giddens. He's got room to run. Gets to the 2nd level. He's got room. Tackled at the 10, down at the 5. And a big run for the rookie running back. Puts the Colts in the scoring range, and then Leonard finishes it off with a pass to Tyler Warren. Rookie to rookie contact. That's Warren's 6th on the year. And now it's a 13-point lead for the Colts. The field goal or extra point makes it 14. And the Colts look to break away from this ball game. Not a lot of time for the Texans to play with. And with a play fake to Nick Chubb for only a yard. Great pressure by the Colts defense there. Texans running out of time. They only got 4.5 minutes to work with. Stroud buying a lot of time. He's got a lot of time in the pocket and misses his target. A good attempt by Stroud to keep the play alive. And they're going to go for it on 4th and 9. It's an all or nothing play here. Nothing to lose. That's the gain. And wide open on the right side is ruled a first down. They say he's in bounds. As you look at the replay, and he didn't really have possession at first. And I think he looks like he's out of bounds on that initial step. Higgins, you could argue he might have a little bit of room between his pinky toe and the sideline, but I think he's out of bounds. So we're ultimately going to challenge this play, trying to get the ball back. I don't think he's in. I don't think he had possession until only after the fact. So we will review this. If we win, we get the ball back and get to waste so much time. If the Texans win it, they get to keep the game alive for the time being. They've got 4 minutes left. I wish they'd upgrade this replay ability because it sure isn't anything great. And after the challenge, we lose, so we'll lose a timeout. The Texans will get the ball, will maintain the ball, and get that fourth down conversion. And they'll keep it going as they find their target. It is back to Higgins. I don't think it's Higgins, that's Berrios. To move the chains, 3rd and 2. Colts want to stop. They won't get it. Wide open is Braxton Berrios under the middle, and he falls forward into the end zone. And that's a touchdown for Mr. Braxton Berrios, not Jose. If you watch baseball, you know you know. But the Texans look to cut into this deficit. Like I said before, they have not led all game. The best they've done is tie. And the extra point needs to be good, and it will be. So it's now a 34-27 ball game. The Texas defense has to clutch up if they want to try to win this game. Leonard has been great outside those 2 turnovers. He's been amazing. Handoff up the middle for a first down. That is Jonathan Taylor, who is back after sitting out for a few plays for Giddens. The Colts are running out the clock, man in motion. 1st and goal, play fake. They wanted to get Taylor, and instead that won't happen. That is an amazing play fake by Leonard and the Colts to Mo Ali Cox that forces the Texans to use a timeout. And now up the middle is Taylor, gets the first down a lot more. The Texans will have to use another timeout, and now this game is no longer in their favor. As you get past the 2-minute warning, Texans have used a timeout. It's 3rd down. They're going to run it with Taylor, and he is stuffed for no gain. So the Texans defense does hold their end of the deal. And now Schrader will have to make another field goal to make this a 37-27 ball game. And this will definitely put the Texans out of reach, and they don't have any timeouts nor a lot of time to make some sort of comeback. Doesn't mean they can't. It just means they don't have a lot of time to work with. And Schrader will make the field goal. And it's now a 10-point deficit for Houston. A little over 30 seconds left, and they hand this one off to Nick Chubb in crunch time. I don't know what the Texans are doing there. And that forced them to have to run the ball or to run the clock. It's 2nd and 7. They'll throw it with Stroud. He's got time and throws the ball away. And they just basically wasted 20 seconds that they could have used to just try to throw the football to the sideline. And in Stroud, he's going to run out the pocket. He goes nowhere near the sideline. Instead, he stays around the numbers, and that will do it for the game. The Texans run out of time, and terrible clock management by C.J. Stroud and the offense. And you could argue Denico Autry, but or Todd Bowles. Why do I not know who the coach is? But anyway, the Texans will lose 37-27. It doesn't take away from the win. We're now a 7-10 team, while the Texans dropped to 6-11. Funny how the Texans ended up performing worse than us. Go figure. I figured they would have been better. It was a great game for Riley Leonard for sure. An offensive game throughout the whole way. No big defensive stats on our side, but the defense did really prove their worth in this one. And for the Texans defense, they got a few turnovers. It was a pretty big game for Riley Leonard. Like I said, he had 404 yards, or 403 yards with 3 touchdowns in his first NFL start. And really outplayed C.J. Stroud despite him not having any turnovers. Jonathan Taylor didn't have the craziest game in his final game of the season. Gibson came in for a little bit. Didn't play too bad. DJ Giddens, without those big plays, I don't think he had a crazy night, or crazy day, but still fine. Josh Downs really showed out in this game. For the lack of playing time, well, not playing time, but the lack of plays he's really had these last few games, he really stepped up. Tyler Warren had a really solid game. The big catch he had earlier really showcased the type of skills that he really has as a player. A lot of sacks from Houston didn't deter us. Latu had one of the only sacks from us on CJ Stroud. He did throw 2 interceptions to their none, But we still won 37-27, a really good win for us. Roddy Leonard's going to get a pretty huge upgrade to close out the first season of the franchise, as he pays his way to potentially being a starter for season number 2. I'm not going to say it's set in stone. We don't really know what's the future for Daniel Jones is or Anthony Richardson. Richardson still does have a year left on his contract. Daniel Jones does not. We are going to have to see if they renew it. But let's see what happened around the league in week 18. We'll start in Houston, and Roddy Leonard, with his first start of his NFL career, his young NFL career, comes in a victory as the Colts win 37-27. They will end the year 7-10. The Texans will be 6-11. The Jacksonville Jaguars will win out in the AFC South. The Chargers and Broncos go head to head. This is for the AFC West, so huge playoff implications, where this game wins the division and ends up being the Denver Broncos winning 24-20 at home. So they will be, I believe, the 2nd seed, and the Chargers will fall to probably about 6, give or take. Then the Packers and the Vikings, this likely is for the NFC North. I think the Vikings did fall to the Lions last week or a week before, but the Packers don't care, and they win 35-17 against my glorious king in JJ McCarthy and Justin Jefferson, double JJ. The Vikings probably are not eliminated from the playoffs despite that loss. The Packers were already in the playoffs. They will clinch it now because there were a whole lot of spots in the NFC left. So a huge win for the Packers. As we look at the final standings, the Ravens win out in the entire AFC, 14-win team, besting the Steelers. The Browns, the worst team in the AFC North. The Ravens will be the number 1 seed. The Jaguars win out in the AFC South. Closer than what it looks like on paper. The Colts and Texans did give a fight, but the Jaguars were ahead for most of the way through. The Titans, the odd team out. For the AFC East, it is the Patriots and the Bills. The Patriots actually won out in this division, like in real life, where the Patriots are actually in the Super Bowl, crazy enough. The Bills might be falling apart. Weird to see is the AFC West has 3 teams in the Broncos, Chargers, and the Raiders. The Raiders managed to clinch late in the year. The Chiefs are the odd team out, which you don't see happen often. I know it happened in real life, but the Chiefs being the only team in the AFC West to not make the playoffs is a little bit weird. The Broncos with the win will clinch the AFC West. Now they reach the NFC, and the same thing happens. This is the common occurrence. The Lions, Packers, and Vikings all clinch the playoffs. The Bears, the odd team out, which is obviously opposite of what happened in real life. The Vikings and Lions did not make the playoffs. For the NFC South, a close division at that, the Falcons and the Buccaneers will represent the NFC South. The Eagles will be the lone representative for the NFC East, as expected. Despite their loss to the Commanders, they were still a high commodity team. And the NFC West ended with the 49ers taking the last spot, the only one once after their loss to us. So pretty big. They went 1-1. So this is what the playoffs look like. The Ravens, number 1 seed, the Eagles, number 1 seed for the NFC. Key matches, in my opinion, the Patriots and the Bills will go head to head. And I think another big one, the Jags and the Chargers in the AFC. For the NFC, it's basically all divisional games for the most part. The Falcons and Buccaneers, the Lions and Packers. And then we got the Vikings and the San Francisco 49ers as the 2-7 seed. So it's interesting because the Chiefs are not in here, which is not entirely weird. But that will do it for the final episode of season number 1. Obviously, we have the regular season recap as well as the postseason recap and the entire offseason. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it's shorter than usual because it's only one game, but like and subscribe like the video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. Off season is going to be the longest video I do. I am working on editing it now as of this video coming out. I can promise it will come out this weekend. Just give me some time because it is taking a while for me to edit, but it will come for sure this weekend, I promise. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, this has been Minnesota Mafia. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.